Stop scrolling if you are considered the middle class. Right now, if your income is anywhere between $30,000 to $200,000, depending on the size of your family, you are considered middle class. Video is for you. If you're new here, I'm Julia Myers, and I am on my own wealth journey to take myself from middle class to what we consider wealth, okay? I am not a millionaire. I am not even pretending to be a millionaire on social media like so many people that I've seen on my timeline. What I am is a professional trainer in government who looked up one day and realized I was middle class, and middle class was actually choking me. It's like, oh, I remember being poor and only having $200. And while I have more than $200, the feelings are amongst the same. I don't know if that's you, but if that is you, keep listening. I realized that I had to change some things, and one of the things I always do is go back to books. One of the books that has been essential in my process, my journey of taking myself from middle class to wealthy, is this book right here. I believe that if you want to do anything in life, you have to go to the people that have already done what you're doing, right? And some of us, myself included, when I first started on this wealth journey, I did not have access to millionaire mentors or even people that I could pick up. What I can tell you now is I do. My network is full of millionaires, full of people that are teaching me the game, and I'm showing up on social media, sharing me applying that information that I've learned, whether it's from a book like this or whether it's from a course or a friend that has been spilling the beans to me on how to get myself out of the million class towards gaining and creating wealth for me and my family. Okay, so today video is going to be all about what I've learned in this book and what I have been able to apply so far. Okay, so we're going to go through one of the very first things he says is number 10 is millionaires think long term, middle class think short term. Can't get angry when something hits your spirit too. So it's going to be things I'm going to be calling out that is currently a mindset of yours and mine's too in the past that I'm probably trying to overcome to get myself out of the middle class towards wealth. And one of the biggest things is that mindset. Everything always goes back to mindset. Most of us are living a mindset that was passed to us from the people we grew up with, from the information we've taken in through media, and from beliefs handed down to us from other places. Now we're at a space and old enough to say, hey, I'm going to change my mindset. So the very first thing he says is that the difference between a millionaire and a middle class is millionaires think long term, middle class think short term. And I want you to think about that. A lot of middle class people think in terms of like my paycheck. I know I have a pretty stable career and I make whatever amount you make, whether it's the 30s to the high 100 six-figure earners. We think in terms of like this month, right? Or I'm able to cover the credit card bill that I ran up last month, this month. So I'm able to cover that bill. Or you're thinking in terms of like, what's going to happen immediately in this next 30 to 60 days. Millionaires think in terms of what am I going to leave my children if I pass, or my children's children. And the difference between those two thoughts create the habits and what we do with our money every day. So if I'm thinking long term, again, this is for people that are in the middle class, and I'm not excluding people, but if you're sitting there and not having money to put gas in the car, it's going to be hard for you to even think about like, oh, people think about what they're going to do for the month. And this is the thing, I've been there. I've been the person with a master's degree and I couldn't buy a cheeseburger. So there's no judgment here. It's just that the mindset is going to be different. I can't talk to you about leaving wealth if you're thinking about putting gas in your tank, okay? So it all goes back to your mindset. So they plan differently, right? So when I realized that, I was like, oh, I need to stop planning for the next vacation, and I need to start planning for, let's just say, the next property I'm going to buy. So then I started putting cash away to purchase a building, okay? Because now I'm looking for opportunities to take the money I'm making every month and buy assets, okay? So number one is we have to change the way we're thinking, our projections. So instead of monthly, we need to think long term. Number 9, this one may be hard to admit, okay? But it's true. Millionaires talk about ideas. Middle class talk about people and things. I think it's very self-explanatory. If you pick up the phone and your main conversation is about what so-and-so had on, what's in the media, about the last event you went to, and nothing's wrong with going with events, but I'm going to challenge you, what's the majority of your conversation? Is it about ideas? It is about thinking about the next business idea, the next index fund to invest in, the next about forming LLCs. So that one, you're going to have to just admit, and it's okay. It's okay, because a lot of us are used to talking about what happened last week, what so-and-so had on social media. And I ain't telling you not to do it no more. What I'm telling you is to figure out where you stand, and if 90% or more, or even 60% or more of your conversations about people and things and not ideas that you're coming up with to create wealth, then you got your answer. Number 8, millionaires embrace change. Middle class want to stick to the same. They are literally afraid of change. And I want you to think about it. The moment a new process rolls out at work, how resistant are you to that change? How resistant are you to what's happening in the market? I work in real estate, and EXP was one of those what we call industry disruptors. So we are cloud-based business, and the way we did real estate changed. I could have a partner in Texas, which I do. I can have a partner in Southern Illinois, which I do. I don't have to go into a building anymore to get my real estate done. Some people that can see long term, the probabilities of that, okay? We're not scared of change. We understand that nothing in the world stays the same, that the only thing is constant in change. So you have to just ask yourself, are you open to embrace? I want you to think about Netflix and Blockbuster. Who was resistant to change? Nothing is staying the same. Everything is changing. So ask yourself, are you resistant to change, or are you open to it? Because that's going to be a big distinguish factor between if you're going to stay in the middle class or if you're going to be open to creating wealth. Number 7, millionaires take calculated risks. Middle class are adverse. They're afraid to take risks. Okay. So think about this. I believe in risks. Buying my multi-unit building and doing a rehab, and I never done it before, carry a lot of risk to it. But I was willing to do that because the reward outweighed the risk. Now, I'm not telling you to go spend all your money in Bitcoin. You know, I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but I'm saying is you want to calculate the risks and then move forward. You can't be afraid. Nothing literally comes from safety. Safety is actually an illusion. That's not reality. The moment have you been in a job and you was like, this is safe, and then next thing you know, you realized they was downsizing and you no longer had a job? Because there is no such thing as safe. The only safety you truly have is the safety that you create for yourself. So do not be afraid to take calculated risk. Number 6, millionaires know that the education is ongoing learning. Y'all, if y'all seen my library, again, I'm going to be sharing all these books with you on TikTok. I'm always learning something. I'm always breaking my credit card out to go to a conference, to buy an ebook, to buy a course, because I know things are always changing. So the things I learned in college in marketing, they no longer exist. If I was trying to do marketing in this world and I only had learned what I learned in college, I wouldn't be able to move my business forward. So the middle class think that the learning stopped once they graduated from school and got however many degrees they depended on that they decided to get. But the reality is you always have to be open to learning because things are ever changing, and learning is the opportunity for you as a person to expand. So don't get stuck in thinking that the learning stopped once you graduate. For me, after getting a master's degree, the learning had just begun because now I was in control of the things that I wanted to learn. Now I looked at my future and say, this is where I'm going. Let me go buy any book, any course, connect with anybody that's going to teach me what I need to know about getting to that end result. Don't be confused where learning happens. Number 5. Millionaires work for profits. Middle class work for wages. Now, I am not one of those people on social media that's going to tell you to go quit your job tomorrow. No. What I'm saying you is that while you're building your wealth, which I am too, you're going to use your wages, which I do, to go out and get opportunities that are going to be able to benefit you in terms of profit. Okay? So now we're going to start changing our mindset around how we generate income. All right, we're not gonna walk away from the income that we're producing now, but now we're gonna start putting on a new hat to say, hey, how can I start looking at profits? If I invest this much money and I'm going to get a profit of this, instead if I invest this much time and somebody's going to pay me these many wages for showing up for this much time. Keep doing that until you're building your wealth enough where all you're going to do is focus on profits, which is going to take time. But the idea is that you're starting to shift your mindset around money. And the more you shift your mindset around money and not just looking at wages and looking for opportunities for profit, then the more you're going to move yourself in a direction of a millionaire. Again, I'm not a millionaire. I'm in my own journey of becoming a millionaire, where I've taken the wages somebody has paying me, as I work in government as a government trainer. I'm taking that high salary and I'm looking for opportunities to create profits. So my mindset, instead of chasing the next high paying job opportunity, I'm looking for opportunities to take my wages to buy assets that's going to give me profit. So there's a shift around mindset between a middle class person and a millionaire. Number 4, millionaires are generous. A lot of middle class say, I can't afford that. And this one is interesting because we've been programmed to think the exact opposite. Filthy rich. You heard that. But I just interviewed a black boss lady on my podcast, and she used to work in banking, worked in the wealth portfolio management. And she talked about how she never met those people, but she would see their actions on paper. And she was so inspired by how all these people that had this wealth gave away so much money to people in need. So do not be confused by the media making you think that everybody that's rich do not share their wealth. So you're going to have to, wherever your spiritual place alignment or the person you pray to, most people, most religions know the importance of the tithe, the 10th. We have to give because actually in our giving, we're sending off a signal, a frequency of more than enough. But if we're holding on everything we get so tight, we're actually sending out a frequency of not enough. So I encourage you to start where you can. In the Bible, the lady only had 2 pennies. She had 2 pennies and she gave from what she had, because in her mind, she was sitting out right there. She's sitting out, hey, I have more than enough. I can give away the little that I have. So I'm not telling you to go in the poorhouse for giving, but I'm telling you to look for opportunities to give so that you can open up the energy patterns, the patterns of God, to allow more wealth. And this is the thing. Sometimes we think if we sow a seed that wealth is going to come in like money. But God gives wealth in the form of ideas. So when you're giving out what you have, God's going to give you ideas, and then you take those ideas and you water them, and those ideas become the avenues, the vehicles in which you'll be able to produce the wealth. But you gotta give from where you are now. Number 2, millionaires have several sources of income. Middle class have 1 or 2. This one was really big for me, because I'm like, okay, we can't run around. We're only one person. We get 24 hours in a day. But I have to find opportunities to have multiple streams of income. For me, it was learning real estate on the side of my government job, okay? So this allowed me to start generating income as an agent. And as I started generating income as an agent, I took that money and bought a building. Now I'm generating income as a landlord, and I'm taking that money to build another business, okay? That's my Mastering Your Vision Board class. And then I recruit agents and I teach them how to make 5 to 6 figures without quitting their day job. And the company I work for, they give me another source of income. So we have to, my goal is to have 7 sources of income, but this is the thing, not me doing 7 jobs, me being able to invest in avenues and streams of income that does not require my attention. At the beginning, going out showing houses require my attention. Being a landlord doesn't require my attention every day. So we have to start moving with the mindset that we're going to take the income that we have and we're going to buy assets that are going to produce us income, but it's not going to make us work more hours a day, okay? So that's the difference between millionaires. Millionaires know that they need to buy assets, and they're going to keep buying those assets. I got to see Magic Johnson recently, and he taught in person live doing at a wealth conference. Remember, I'm always putting myself in positions to hear from people that have what I want, and that was the opportunity for me to learn. And Magic Johnson talked about how he didn't take any money out of his Starbucks until he got like to buying so many. One bought the other, and that one bought the other, and that one bought the other. And I think it wasn't until he, don't quote me on this, got to like the fifth or sixth one where he finally took out money to put in his pocket, because he understood he need multiple streams of income. And while we're no Magic Johnson right now, that principle is still in line. So look for ways to use your current income to start buying assets. Number 2, which kind of piggybacks off the other one. Millionaires look for opportunities to grow their net worth, okay? Middle class look for opportunities to grow their income, their paycheck. And the thing about this is, I never even thought of terms of net worth. It wasn't until one day I was in a group chat and got to talking, and I was like, oh my God, my building since 2019 has allowed me to get over 100K in appreciation. I don't got 100K that I could go to the bank right now, but that asset is worth more than 100K. It produces income every month, and as an asset, it's growing. So my net worth is actually higher than I thought it was. And then my government job paid off $120,000 in student loan debt. So you see how that separation right there increased again my net worth. So right now, I don't even look for jobs to increase my paycheck. Like, I'm not out on the market looking for jobs, because that's not my interest right now. I'm not interested in climbing a ladder. I'm interested in using the money that I'm already creating to buy more assets to increase my net worth. Because honestly, some of us are already at the 6 figures. You're in the middle class. I'm talking to the middle class. So some of us are always already at the high 60s, 70s, 80s. Now, maybe this journey right now is to find opportunities to increase your paycheck. But what I've learned being in the market is that a lot of times when you get past that 6-figure mark, 120, 130, 140, you're requiring even more of your energy every day for those people. So for me, I have no desire to climb a corporate ladder or go anywhere else. I'm just going to continue taking my government paycheck and finding opportunities to buy assets to increase my net worth, because that's the difference between a middle class mindset and a millionaire mindset. And the last one, this is big. This is so big, and it's intangible. Millionaires ask themselves empowering questions. Middle class ask themselves disempowering questions. Here's the biggest secret that I've learned about life. Your mind actually seeks out information from the questions you ask it. So if you say, why me? You're going to get all the reasons why me. Like, why is this happening to me? Oh my God, that's disempowering. Instead of saying, what can I learn from this? What do I need to get out of this season in my life? What do I need to get out of this situation that seems to be negative? What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? How can I not go around that mountain one more time? So I'm telling you right now, stop asking yourself disempowering questions. Stop asking yourself, why can't I afford this? Instead of, how can I afford this? Stop asking yourself, I see stuff on social media all the time. Who are they to think that they can do that? Who are they not to think they can do that? Let's start reframing those questions. And a lot of that is going to require us to taking in new information. And like I told you, I wanted to go from the middle class, which I am so appreciative. I remember not being able to buy a cheeseburger, guys. I'm talking about 26 and not being able to buy a cheeseburger. And I sat at that computer and I was like, a long story, I won't go into that now, but life brought me to this place where I was like, who am I? I did not know at 26 with a master's degree who I was. So I started asking myself, who am I? Who am I? What do I have to offer? All of those empowering questions. Who do I need to become to get those desires that I have? And this where I end up on. Even sitting here, not being a millionaire, in what they consider middle class, upper middle class, that wasn't enough. My question is, Okay, I did that. I'm not even 40, few months from it. And then people, places, situations, circumstances, and information showed up just like this. So I hope you have enjoyed this book review. Here's the title. Go and grab it, do some self-diagnostics, and then get to work. And be sure to like, follow, comment, and visit my profile often as I share more books, tools, and resources that I'm using to take myself from middle class to wealthy. See you guys.